Provenzano with Clean Air Now. When Dr. Dan Sperling brought up his proposal to have the ZEV mandate re-looked at, you had charged the staff to come back in 2009. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any way of bringing that timeline, moving that timeline up? It seemed like over 18 months was a long bit of time for me.
Thanks. Let me just segue into a little bit more background on that for those who weren't following it. One of the things that the board expressed some frustration about, and I've heard from many people who were in the audience as well, is that the zero-emission vehicle program has become incredibly complicated with layers and layers of different types of vehicles and tradable permits and credits that people have built up and banking and borrowing and all those other attributes for what at the bottom is not that a large number of cars. What we want to get to, of course, is more cars. So one of the things that the board did was to sort of restate the goal for this particular piece of our vehicle emissions programs. And to point out that the zero-emission vehicle program is only one piece of California's overall vehicle regulations. The Air Resources Board operates a low-emission vehicle program, which is focused mainly on gasoline-powered vehicles. And also now we have the PAVLI program, which is our greenhouse gas emissions program. So there's sort of three separate vehicle programs running somewhat in parallel with each other. And it's hard to understand how they fit together and what the overarching goal of the program is. So the board stated that the zero-emission vehicle program is intended to be a relatively small piece of what we're doing overall to drive towards the lowest possible emission vehicles and fuels in California. And it was intended to be sort of a pre-commercialization to commercialization program, a place where that would happen, and that when cars become viable on their own, we wouldn't continue to try to mandate certain volumes of sales of different types of vehicles, one against the other. We also told the staff that we wanted them to take another look at the PAVLI program, even though, as I said, we're planning on being able legally to enforce it beginning sometime in 2009. Nevertheless, we'd like to see greenhouse gases integrated into our vehicle emissions program, so we're not treating them as a whole separate universe from conventional air pollutants. So the staff has taken up this task with real eagerness, and they're looking forward to doing it. But it is going to take them some time to take these three separate programs and figure out how to tease them apart and either put them back together as one or operate them together but under some kind of a sensible umbrella. Either way, I don't think it's going to be possible for them to do it in under a year. And whether it's a year versus 18 months and how that fits in with the other things they're doing, I can't say for sure, but we're going to push it as fast as we can. Everybody wants to get to that goal.
I'm sorry I didn't give the background. One clarification, was the fuel cell giving extra credit to fuel cells with a 200 and more mile range instead of, you mentioned 300 mile range. I thought it was a 200 mile range.
It was for extra credit was for the 300.
300, okay. Thank you.
Much that you wanted to see it completely rejected as a compliance option. And that's what the board wasn't willing to do. The advocates for the EV1 and the RAV4, who are still out there, simply believe that anything that allows for a continued presence for hydrogen among the options is a step backwards. And we don't agree with that.
So this idea that you killed the electric car again, you think it's complete nonsense?
Absolutely not true. The electric car never died, and it's coming back stronger than ever because the manufacturers are committed to marketing attractive vehicles that people will want to buy. And they'll be tested in the sense that people are going to have to learn how to live with a car that needs to be plugged in, but it'll be something that gets into the hands of more than just a few early adopters with solar roofs that they want to see used for charging. So we're all committed to pushing. The question is, what's the most effective way to push? And it was the board's determination that opting for a program that will see a larger number of vehicles with very long-range batteries was better than trying to hold the line on cars, on having nothing but battery-operated cars. We could have flooded the state with NEVs. You know, I have a GEM that I drive around in downtown Sacramento. It takes me, you know, from my office to my apartment to the grocery store, and then back to the garage where it gets charged. But it can't go on the freeway. You could create an even bigger market for those kinds of cars, or soup them up a little bit further. And we didn't want to play that game.
Right. Did the governor support what you did? The compromise?
Yes.
The Sperling compromise?
The governor left us to our discretion to do what we thought was right, and when we explained it to him, he said okay.